I have a bit of a curse. When I'm not fully modifying my project printers, I'm trying my hardest not to break them, only to have my new Prusa fall victim to Murphy's Law. It has a broken thermistor, and worse, performance issues. The VFA kind. I've compiled some upgrades and some prints to address these issues and essentially turn this machine into a Core 1L Plus. I need this machine up and running on the double to print PCCF parts for my next project, so without any time to waste, let's start the upgrades. I must admit, while this machine is stock, the nozzle technically isn't. I'm rocking the Prusa hardened steel nozzle, which compared to the stock brass high flow one, has an even lower thermal transfer coefficient. The steel nozzle and aluminium heater block managed to get a nice 20 cubic millimeters a second safe maximum flow with Pixel high-speed PLA+, but now let's go from steel and aluminium to copper and copper. My favorite metal, so good it's here twice. With a thermal transfer rate of nearly double that of aluminium, but at the cost of density, this $5 block has me terribly curious, even more so as we're pairing it with a really neat nozzle. The Thetis silicone carbide or SICK extruder nozzle. No CHT geometry, but it's got a copper body and durability that for a price, I won't blink at. This image is essentially stating a nozzle diameter change of 0.1% per kilogram of carbon fiber nylon printed based on a 50 kilogram test. While seconded in my opinion by E3D's absolutely awesome obsidian nozzle, I mean that thing reads absolutely perfect on paper, it's also like 4 times more expensive. Oh, you've got to be joking. With the testing pretty much done, I was pretty curious about the results, but as I quickly discovered, it wasn't that exciting. Both setups achieved a rough maximum flow of 21 cubic millimeters per second, which I thought must be a fluke of some kind, so I redid the test again with the brass CHT nozzle instead of the new copper one, and both tests, with the aluminium and copper blocks, yielded the same 32 cubic millimeters a second result. The numbers were consistent. I was hoping we'd be able to get more than the advertised 21 cubic millimeters a second with the copper nozzle, but it seems that there's a hard limit that we're reaching, with it being the melt length for the standard steel and copper nozzles, and then likely heater power for the CHT nozzle. 40 watts of power is just not enough for these higher flow values. This does tie in nicely to my power constrained hot end idea, with the idea of using longer heaters at the same wattage for more flow without adjusting the firmware or risking the electronics. But that's a project for the future at best. Regardless of the outcome here, the nozzle still has its durability claims, which we'll immediately put into use. Now that the machine is up and running properly, and in rap spirit, I've got a bunch of parts that I would like to print on it for it. An orange PLA accent for the click wheel, some corner plugs to keep the heat in without attaching anything to the outside, a few dust covers, and a fan shroud with chamber thermistor protector, all printed in Prusa Mint PCCF. I am drooling. I'm also very clumsy. I've been lucky with the Core 1L so far, but I nearly damaged it once, so I've conjured up some steel mesh, and 1, 2, 3, we now have a really cool looking cover. I realized also that while my tools are organized, they're an organized mess. So I've printed in Galaxy Black PLA, which is my dream material for those who don't know.
Please be Galaxy Grey or whatever, please. Yes! Always wanted to try this one.
On the Neptune 4 Max, in one piece, this side panel Skadis thing. Am I saying that right?
Skadis.
Interesting. Still not as hard as this one though. That is solid. Now, aside from looking ridiculously good, what do my Trident and the Prusa have in common? Yeah, no nozzle wiper, which I've honestly come to love having on my other machines. While not necessary, as the Prusa does do a little movement to prevent failures, a nozzle wiper is kind of the bare minimum, and if the Core 1L Plus deserves any upgrade, it's this one. That's so cool. I also installed the buddy camera, which I honestly thought was broken at first, but it turns out you have to enable it in the printer's settings or it won't get power. Now, we've got visuals. Now, that copper block from earlier was pretty neat, but what if you wanted to make some tweaks to it and get it machined for your own project? PCBWay have done this for me in the past, with machined copper and even nickel plating being an effortless endeavour to achieve. Any of the printed parts you've seen so far could also be made by them, but not just in plastic, but metal or resin or through an entirely different manufacturing process like SLS. If you want pro-grade parts without spending pro levels of time at making them yourself, PCBWay is worth checking out and seeing what they can do for you. There's a link in the description below, and thank you, PCBWay. Now it's time for a serious chat about the Core 1L. Without and with bias, it's a great machine, but with the lack of nozzle wiper, premium price tag, and VFA troubles that it has, there's a bit of an asterisk with it. Since the machine has belt teeth riding on smooth pulleys, and our friend Chaz has cooked up a toothed idler mod, I would like to see how much of an improvement we could get for a low cost by swapping those idlers. Chaz also said it could be the motors causing these VFAs and that some fancy couplers could fix, but after seeing the price tag, you and me both are looking forward to seeing how $15 worth of parts perform. Okay, this is my least favourite part. Hope I can get these reinstalled. Oh, it's not that bad. Well, it's good. Maybe I'm speaking too soon. Okay, that's completely... wow. Okay, I am 2 hours in so far. Okay, it has been 2.5 hours. We're done. I don't know what this is for though. Well, let's tension the belts, run input shaper and see if it works. This is a good sign. Oh, this is a great sign. And, well, much like the copper block upgrade, the improvements I was after didn't turn up. Comparing the stock parts to the ones I ran with the toolhead idlers, there's no difference, and I even did a third test after loosening the extruded tension and disabling pressure advance to no difference once more. While it's likely that the motors are causing these VFAs, I'm still wondering why there's salmon skin artifacting on the stealth burner, but I will currently chalk that down to the layer height and extrusion. At least I'm comfortable with the gantry pieces now and the entire toolhead in case I ever need to do something with that. It did take almost 3 hours to do that mod though, and while it could be done quicker, it is a notable sub-project that, at least for me, wasn't worth it for VFA elimination. It should help with belt rubbing and improve the longevity though, which is a win. I've been using the Core 1L a lot more than expected, even though I'm a 3D printing YouTuber that doesn't really print that much in my own time. It's not to say that the gap it fills couldn't have been taken up by my other machines, but realistically it's the only one I've had that has truly pulled ahead, and of course given the nature of this machine I hope and expect it to. As an Ender 3 lover, having this machine, doing these upgrades to it, having fun, learning and still printing at the end of the day is everything I'm after. If anything, I think the two upgrades I'd take away from this out of all of them are the Nozzle Wiper and Skadis. They provide functionality that I will consistently use and can therefore fully recommend. This is my total upgrade hierarchy. There were a few mods that I considered too, like a dry box, air filtration, or the squash ball feet, but I ultimately didn't go with them this time round. This machine is still essentially identical to before in terms of speed and quality, but the reliability and durability of some areas have gone up nicely, and I feel that's fitting. A higher speed conversion mod isn't exactly on my to-do list. I don't want to do anything too crazy since this machine is my king card and daily driver, but time will tell. Thank you for giving me your time with checking out this video. I hope your prints have good bed adhesion, and as always, hopefully, I'll see you again soon. Okay, can we get this first try? I have a bit of a curse. That was pretty good. I think we got it. And thank you for making it to the end of the video.